1. Mario Balotelli, why always me? Mario Balotelli wasn't just a footballer, he was a walking headline, a meme before memes existed, and on October 23rd, 2011, he delivered the most Balotelli moment of all time. Manchester derby, Old Trafford, the stage, perfect, the tension, nuclear. City were good, maybe even title contenders. United were united, dominant, untouchable, smug, at least until this day. Balotelli starts. 36 minutes in, James Milner slides a pass through the middle. Mario takes one touch. 2. Low shot, bottom corner, goal. City lead 1-0 at Old Trafford, but that's not the moment. Not yet. Balotelli walks to the sideline, calm, slow. He lifts his sky blue shirt, and there it is. A white undershirt, black letters. Why always me? The cameras zoom in, the world freezes. And in that instant, Mario Balotelli goes from footballer to legend. The celebration wasn't random. It was a response to tabloids, to gossip, to chaos, because in the weeks before this game, Balotelli had been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Setting off fireworks in his bathroom, crashing his car with thousands of pounds in cash on the passenger seat, even rumors of visiting a women's prison just to look around. Balotelli lived life like an Instagram feed, before Instagram. And the shirt? That was his punchline, his way of saying, I'm not the problem, you are. City went on to destroy United that day. 6-1 at Old Trafford, a humiliation so complete it changed English football forever. And the face of that destruction? Mario Balotelli, standing with his arms out after scoring, no smile, just vibes, as if to say, why always me? Because I'm Mario. That moment became bigger than the match. T-shirts were sold, memes were made, commentators quoted it for years, and to this day, why always me isn't just a celebration, it's a philosophy. Because Mario Balotelli wasn't like other players. He didn't chase acceptance, he didn't hide his chaos. He owned it, and in that one celebration, he turned criticism into culture, hate into humor, pressure into immortality. Football has seen louder celebrations, more controversial ones, but none captured a player's entire personality in 2 words. Like this one. 2. Cristiano Ronaldo. Calma. You could write books about Cristiano Ronaldo's celebrations. The trademark Siu, the shirtless flex, the Champions League leap. But one of the coldest didn't involve a single word, just one gesture, and a stadium full of hate. April 2012. El Clasico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Peak Messi versus peak Ronaldo. A match with everything on the line. Tension, titles, legacy. Madrid hadn't won at the Camp Nou in 4 years. Barcelona were still dominating Spain and Europe, and Real, they were tired of it. This was their moment to flip the script. The game was tight, 1-1. Then, minute 73, Ozil slides a perfect through ball into the box. Ronaldo times the run, takes a touch, beats Valdez, goal. But the real moment came next. Ronaldo jogs toward the corner flag, then slows down. He raises both hands, palms down, and gestures toward the Barcelona fans. Calma, relax, calm down, not screaming, not flexing, just pure, calculated disrespect at the Camp Nou, in front of thousands who loathed him. Cristiano Ronaldo told them to be quiet, to sit back, to accept what was happening. It wasn't just a celebration, it was a power move. This was Ronaldo at his most dangerous, not just as an athlete, but as a villain, a superstar who loved the noise, who craved the pressure, who used hate as fuel. And that goal, it helped seal a 2-1 win. Madrid would go on to win the league that season, snapping Barcelona's dominance. A shift in Spanish football, but people remember the hands, the calm, because in a match where emotions were boiling, Ronaldo didn't explode. He froze the moment and said, "This is mine now." The calma celebration became iconic, not because it was loud, but because it was silent. No dance, no scream. Just a reminder that sometimes the most savage thing you can do is act like you've done it before. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored hundreds of goals, but this one, this celebration, it wasn't just about Real Madrid or Barcelona. It was about control, over the moment, over the crowd, over the narrative. And in that second, he wasn't just the best player on the pitch. He was the villain football didn't want, but couldn't stop watching. 3. Lionel Messi, the shirt hold at the Bernabeu. Lionel Messi is known for his humility. No shouting, no flexing, no controversy. He celebrates with a finger to the sky, always for his grandmother. But on April 23rd, 2017, he broke character and gave us the most ice-cold celebration in El Clasico history. Real Madrid versus Barcelona. Bernabeu, El Clasico, with everything at stake. stake. La Liga was neck and neck. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was war. The match? Chaos. Casemiro scores. Messi equalizes. Rakitic makes it 2-1 for Barca. Ramos gets sent off. James Rodriguez pulls Madrid level late. Then came stoppage time. Minute 92, 48. Barca break forward. Sergi Roberto from deep in his own half starts a counter, and seconds later, Jordi Alba cuts it back across the box. And there he is, Messi, arriving like a ghost. Side-footed finish. Far post. Silence. But what came next wasn't silence. It was shock. Messi runs to the Madrid crowd. He doesn't scream, doesn't pound his chest. He takes off his shirt, holds it up, and shows it to the fans and the world. Back turned, face calm, arms fully extended. This is who I am. This is my stadium now. The Bernabeu erupted. Bottles flew. Madrid fans lost their minds, and Messi stood still, shirt in hand, name facing the sky. This wasn't just a celebration. It was a claim, a flag planted in enemy territory by a player who rarely says anything, but on this night said everything without a word. He had been kicked, elbowed, stomped, bloodied earlier in the match by Marcelo, yet here he was again deciding El Clasico. That goal was his 500th for Barcelona, and it wasn't just a milestone. It was a message that no matter how deep the rivalry ran, no matter how much Madrid tried to stop him, Messi was inevitable. The image of him holding that shirt became immortal, a poster, a meme, a tattoo, one of football's most replayed and referenced moments. And the irony? It came from the quietest man on the pitch. Messi didn't gloat, he just reminded you that he didn't need to talk trash because the scoreboard would do it for him. 4. Eric Cantona, the statue pose. Eric Cantona didn't celebrate goals, he declared them. He didn't want your applause, he wanted your attention. January 1996, Manchester United versus Sunderland. Old Trafford. United were rolling. Cantona, as usual, was at the center of everything, the arrogance, the artistry, the chaos. Then it happened. Cantona receives the ball at the edge of the box. One touch, two defenders gone. He chips the keeper. Perfect arc, bar, net, goal. But the moment didn't end there. That goal was just the opening act. Cantona turns. He doesn't run. He doesn't smile. He walks, slowly, chin lifted like royalty. Then he stops, turns to the crowd, arms wide, chest out, like a statue come to life. He just stands there, expressionless, as if to say, "You're welcome." The crowd erupts, but Cantona doesn't move. No high fives, no knee slides, just stillness, confidence so cold, it froze the moment. That wasn't just a celebration, that was art. Because Eric Cantona wasn't just a player, he was a performance. Every touch, every pass, every interview theater. He once said, "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea." No one knew what it meant, and that was the point. This celebration became his trademark, not because he did it often, but because no one else ever could. No one else had the aura, the ego, the silence that screamed louder than any chant. In an era of shirt-tugging, badge-kissing, and choreographed dances, Cantona gave us nothing, and somehow gave us everything. He reminded us that football can be poetry. And sometimes, the most powerful statement isn't what you do after the goal, it's how little you need to do at all. That pose is now frozen in football history. A meme, a mural, an attitude, because Cantona didn't just score that goal, he crowned himself, and dared the world to say otherwise. 5. Robbie Fowler, the cocaine snort. Robbie Fowler was a born finisher. He didn't need power or pace, just a glance at goal. But in April 1999, he scored a goal that would be remembered not for how he finished it, but what he did after. Liverpool versus Everton, the Merseyside derby, already a high-voltage match, but for Fowler, this one was personal. Everton fans had been taunting him for years. Chants, rumors, and accusations. The most damaging? That he was a cocaine user. Unfounded, unproven, but everywhere. So when Fowler scored from the penalty spot at Anfield that night, he didn't just celebrate. He detonated a moment that would go down in football infamy. He ran to the touchline, dropped to his knees, bent forward, and pretended to snort the white chalk line across the edge of the pitch. 1, 2, 3 snorts. Head back, arms out, and the stadium split. Liverpool fans roared. Everton fans exploded. The media lost its mind. It was outrageous, provocative, reckless, and yet undeniably unforgettable. Fowler later said it was just a joke, a dig at the abuse he'd been getting for years. But the FA didn't laugh. He was fined 60-0 and banned for 4 games. Liverpool manager Gerard Houllier tried to spin it. He said Fowler was imitating a Cameroonian grass-eating celebration in support of teammate Rigobert's song. No one believed him, not even Fowler. But in a strange way, the moment defined him. Robbie Fowler didn't play by the book. He didn't care about PR. He played for the bad badge, and for the fans who stuck by him. And that celebration, as wild as it was, wasn't about glory, it was about payback. It became one of the most iconic and controversial moments in Premier League history, not because it was polished, but because it was raw, unfiltered, real. You can choreograph dances, you can plan shirt messages, but you can't fake that level of emotion or pettiness. Robbie Fowler took one of football's darkest rumors and turned it into a one-man protest, one that got him banned, fined, and immortalized all at once. In a game full of sanitized moments and sponsor-friendly celebrations, this one was gritty, messy, and unforgettable. 6. Emmanuel Adebayo, the Full Pitch Revenge Tour. Some celebrations are about joy, some are about passion, but this one was about pure, unfiltered revenge. September 2009, Manchester City versus Arsenal, a big Premier League clash, but for one man, it was personal. Emmanuel Adebayo had just made the move from Arsenal to City, and he wasn't exactly leaving with a warm send-off. Arsenal fans had turned on him, accused him of being lazy, greedy, disloyal. He was booed, mocked, labeled a snake. So when he faced them in sky blue for the first time, he was locked in. The game was intense, tackles flying in, the crowd venomous. And then, minute 80, Sean Wright-Phillips swings in a cross. Adebayo rises, boom header, goal, 3-1 to City. And then, the moment, Adebayo doesn't just celebrate, he sprints. The entire length of the pitch, almost 100 yards at full speed. And where does he go? Right in front of the Arsenal fans. He drops to his knees, arms wide, face stone cold. The Arsenal end explodes, but not with applause. Fans throw bottles, coins, trash anything they can grab. Security rushes in. Commentators lose their minds. Adebayo just stares. This wasn't joy, this was vengeance. After the game, the headlines weren't about the score. They were about the sprint, the celebration, the statement. Adebayo was fined 25-0 and banned for 2 games, but he had no regrets. He later said, "If you were being abused for 90 minutes, you'd react too." And that's the thing, this was a man who'd been villainized for leaving a club that no longer wanted him. Was it petty? Absolutely. Was it dangerous? Probably. Was it iconic? No question. Because in a world where players are told to be professional, to ignore the noise, Adebayo did what every player dreams of doing. He responded his way. The full pitch sprint became a meme, a symbol of "you'll remember me," and maybe the pettiest celebration the Premier League has ever seen. Football has had more elegant moments, more graceful ones, but none more human than this, because sometimes the most powerful thing a player can do is run 100 yards just to prove a point. 7. Paul Gascoigne, the dentist chair. Paul Gascoigne didn't just play football, he lived it, unfiltered, unpredictable, and often unforgettable. By the time Euro 1996 kicked off in England, Gaza was already a legend, but a messy one, a genius on the ball, and a magnet for headlines off it. And heading into the tournament, all eyes were on him for all the wrong reasons. Because just before Euro 96, the tabloids exploded. Photos leaked of Gascoigne and several England teammates partying in Hong Kong, not just drinking, but recreating a dentist chair routine. Lying back while teammates poured booze into his mouth. The media went ballistic. National disgrace. Unprofessional. Out of shape. The pressure was suffocating. So when England played Scotland at Wembley in the group stage, Gaza had a point to prove. And boy, did he prove it. England were 1-0 up. Minute 79, Gascoigne receives a flicked pass from Darren Anderton just outside the box. One bounce. He flips the ball over Colin Hendry's head with his left foot, spins around, and volleys it past the keeper with his right. A goal of absolute magic, technique, timing, audacity. But what came next? That was the real moment. Gascoigne runs to the sideline, falls to the ground, and lies flat on his back. His teammates rush over and recreate the dentist chair. Squirt bottles go in his mouth. They laugh. He laughs. And the crowd erupts. In one goal and one celebration, Gaza silenced the critics, mocked the media, and reminded the world what football is really about. Joy, flair, personality. The celebration went viral before viral even existed. It was on every front page, TV, radio, newspapers. For once, the headlines were about football again. Gascoigne's dentist chair wasn't just funny, it was bold. It was defiant. A player saying, "Yeah, I made mistakes, but I'm still that guy." In a sport that often punishes individuality, Gaza made it art. He turned criticism into comedy, pressure into performance. To this day, that goal and celebration are among England's most cherished tournament memories. Not just because of what he did, but because because of how he did it, Gascoigne was many things: troubled, wild, misunderstood. But for that one match, that one goal, that one moment, he was football's greatest entertainer. 8. Sifiwe Tshabalala, the World Cup dance. Some celebrations are about ego, some are about rivalry. But this one was about joy. Pure, undiluted, global joy. June 11, 2010, Johannesburg, South Africa. The opening match of the FIFA World Cup, the vuvuzelas were blaring, the world was watching, and the host nation South Africa was ready to make history. Enter Sifiwe Tshabalala, midfielder, local hero, lightning pace. In the 55th minute, the ball broke loose in midfield. One touch, two, then a perfectly timed through ball. Tshabalala hit it in stride, no hesitation. He opened up his body and smashed it. Top corner, a thunderbolt. 1-0 to South Africa. The goal was stunning, but what came next? That's what made it eternal. Tshabalala ran to the corner flag, arms flapping in rhythm, then stopped and waited. A group of teammates joined him, and together they broke into a fully choreographed dance routine. Precision, style, unity, not rehearsed, practiced. They moved as one, feet pounding, shoulders shaking. A celebration that didn't just say we scored, it said we belong. The stadium erupted. Billions watching around the world smiled. Because in that moment, football wasn't just about goals, it was about vibes. Tshabalala's celebration became the unofficial anthem of that World Cup, a symbol of African spirit, of pride, of joy on the world's biggest stage. The goal itself was replayed on every network, every highlight reel, but the celebration, it lived in GIFs, YouTube clips, and commercials. It transcended the match, and it wasn't cocky, it wasn't trolling. It was beautiful because it came from a team carrying a continent on its shoulders. And when Tshabalala danced, he carried all of them with him. South Africa didn't go on to win the tournament. They didn't even make it past the group stage, but that goal and that dance was their moment. It reminded us that football is more than just results. It's rhythm, culture, identity. In a sport that's often so serious, so commercial, Tshabalala gave us a moment of raw expression. One perfect goal, one perfect beat, one moment the whole world could feel. Even if they didn't speak the same language, football is played everywhere. But in that moment, it danced in South Africa. And that's a wrap 8 celebrations that weren't just about scoring. They were about sending a message, sparking emotion, or just straight up having fun. From Balotelli's mystery to Tshabalala's rhythm, these weren't just goals, they were moments, etched in football history and in all of our group chats forever. If you enjoyed reliving the chaos, the pettiness, and the perfect limbs, go ahead and smash that like button like Adebayo smashing that header. Subscribe so you don't miss the next dive into football madness. And drop a comment with your favorite celebration, or better yet, the wildest one we didn't include. Because in football, sometimes the best goal is what you do after the ball hits the net.